Never try to solve his problems for him. Whenever you are trying to solve a man's problem or to meet his needs or to help him in some way, you are in masculine energy, because masculine energy is about giving and providing. Feminine energy is about receiving and being vulnerable. And so if you find yourself problem solving and trying to be his therapist or his mommy or his teacher or his doctor or his nurse, etc., well, maybe in some contexts the nurse is okay. But yeah, anytime you're trying to give and provide to him and take on those roles, you are in the masculine energy, which is going to destroy the polarity, which will destroy the attraction. Because the law of polarity states that opposite energies attract. Masculine energy attracts feminine energy. And if you are entering your masculine energy, you're going to push him into his feminine energy, or you're going to push him away, because there won't be any attraction anymore. There won't be any devotion, because the masculine core, the masculine instinct needs to feel valuable. He needs to feel that he can provide for you, that he can make you happy, and that he can be your hero. And if you are doing those things for him, it's not going to allow him to feel that deep sense of devotion for you, which is our first point on the things you should never do with a man that every woman should know about. So, hi, I'm Brody Boyd, and I'm with Magnetize Your Man. And for over 20 years combined with my wife, Antia, we've been helping thousands of successful women all over the world to get a loving, long-term, and committed relationship. So let's continue with these powerful insights. So the number 6 thing that you should never do with a man is never withhold your emotions from him. Now, there are no ugly emotions. There are only ugly behaviors. A man actually wants to feel your emotions. He wants to feel your full heart, because that is your feminine energy. Your feminine energy lives in your heart and your body. It's the flow of the emotions. It's your heartbeat. It's your cyclical nature, the breaths that you take every minute, the hormone cycle. All of that is part of your feminine energy. And if you're repressing that, and if you're hiding that from him because you don't want to be too dramatic or be too needy or be too much, or you don't want to rock the boat or scare him away, you're actually depriving him of the ability to feel your feminine energy and actually be attracted to you and feel a deep sense of love and devotion for you, because he's just going to feel that you are like a buddy, like him. You're like another man, because there is no feminine energy coming from you when you hold that back. Now, the key here is, like I said, there's no ugly emotions, there's only ugly behaviors. There are ugly behaviors that you can do with your emotions that will push him away. So, for example, when you are sharing an emotion with him, but you're using that emotion to try to control him. So you're using that emotion of fear or anxiety or sadness, and you're using it to attack him and to blame him and saying, like, you're not being a good man. You're not doing enough for me. You are hurting me. You are not doing a good job. You need to step up. Or if you're using those emotions to lash out and, again, attack him in some way, criticize him, complain. They call it nagging sometimes, where you are constantly trying to manipulate him to give you what you need. There's nothing wrong with needing things from him. That's your feminine energy. That's a natural as a human being, to want attention, love, adoration from your man. However, if you are then, instead of vulnerably making those requests of him using magnetic feminine communication that we'll teach you in our advanced courses, that he's not going to be able to actually hear what you want, because he's going to be so blinded by the masculine energy, the criticism, the control, the manipulation that's coming from you. Or that he just can't feel your feminine energy because you've shut down. You're stonewalling, or you're just not speaking up. You're not sharing because you don't want to rock the boat. So there's those two extremes. We call it the doormat archetype and the bitch archetype. The doormat archetype, some people call it the white cat in other terms, is the woman who doesn't speak up, who doesn't share, who doesn't want to be too much, and who is just doing whatever he says and being quiet, or just trying to keep things light and keep things fun. And then the bitch on the other extreme is the woman who is telling a man what to do. She is stonewalling, she is controlling him, etc. And what you want to actually embrace is that healthy middle ground, which is the queen archetype that will teach you how to be the queen. That is the balance of both of those. And that involves sharing your emotions and letting him see your emotions and feel your emotions, but doing so in a respectful way, in a way that he wants to hear it, where he's letting you share it. He wants you to share it, because you're not being disrespectful with your emotions and you're not whacking him on the head with them. So the fifth thing you should never do with a man is never tell him what to do. We've talked about this already. If you're telling a man what to do, you are leading him. You are in your masculine energy. You are guiding him. You are treating him like a little boy. And this can be done in small ways when you are even setting boundaries with him and saying, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. You can't talk to me like that, which sounds like it's a good thing on the surface, right? It sounds like, well, yeah, you should set boundaries. But the key is you're telling him what to do in that moment, which is going to make him feel disrespected, which is going to make him pull away and not want to be in a relationship with you. However, if you set a boundary with yourself and telling yourself what to do, telling yourself, I can't be around somebody who's disrespecting me like this. I need some space. I need to move on potentially when you're really setting a boundary in the most extreme way, which can be very helpful if you're with a man who is not treating you well, who's not taking care of your heart. But it's about yourself. You're setting boundaries with yourself. You're keeping yourself from being disrespectful, which then inspires him to actually want to come closer and want to open up and show love and devotion, because the deepest needs of a man, and every man has a masculine core inside of him, the deepest needs of a man from his masculine is to feel respected and trusted. The deepest needs of a woman in her feminine core, every woman has a feminine core, is to feel adored and cherished. So if you start by respecting him, even when he may not deserve it in the moment, you inspire him to want to give you that love and devotion. And he comes closer. And that means not telling him what to do, not leading him, not guiding him, not manipulating him, not trying to lead your relationship forward, but simply sharing vulnerably what your needs and desires are using magnetic feminine communication and allowing him to hear those needs and desires and want to do them on his own, that he feels inspired within himself to be your hero, to be your protector, to be your provider. That's what you can do when you're in your feminine energy. That will allow a man to give you everything that you want, everything that your heart desires, but he's doing it from his own motivation, which means it's more likely to actually stick because it's coming from within himself, not from you telling him what to do. So now if this is helpful and you really want to start embracing principles of magnetic feminine polarity before we get to our next point, make sure you also take our free Magnetize Your Man quiz to get a loving, long-term, and committed relationship with a man you desire by going to our website, magnetizeyourman.com, or you can click on the link in the description or comments below this video as well, which I'd highly recommend to get to the next advanced principles with feminine communication, how to actually do this in a deep way with a man. So the fourth thing you should never do with a man that every woman needs to know is never pay for dates. If you find yourself paying for dates or paying for anything really with a man, again, you are in your masculine energy. You are the provider. You are putting him into the feminine role. You are making him into the feminine in the relationship, or the little boy. Because a mother and a child, the mother is actually in the masculine role. The mother is providing for the child. The mother is giving. The mother is helping the child. The mother is making decisions and leading the child. That is a masculine role, which the mother needs to do in order to help the child to survive. But the child will always stay a child as long as the mother is still doing that to the child. Eventually, the child's going to grow up and it will become a man. And in order for that man to be born, you have to stop being the mother. Which means you need to stop providing and you need to stop giving things to him unless he has led you to give you those things, to give him those things, unless he has asked you specifically to give you those things, to give him those things. So even if a man asks you to pay for the date, in theory, you could do it. However, and let's say if this is an exclusive relationship, a committed relationship, however, you need to look at the relationship as a whole. If you are the one primarily giving and primarily providing for him in a variety of different ways, and he's receiving more from you, he's more in the feminine, that's going to be a problem because, again, that shows you that you're in a depolarized relationship and the dynamic is going to become such that you're both going to lose attraction for each other, likely at some point. But especially on his end, he's going to start losing attraction and he's going to be looking outside the relationship to get those needs met, or just breaking up or just pulling away. So you want to make sure to keep that polarity and keep that attraction in your relationship. And the big way you do that is by not paying for dates and really not doing anything for a man unless he's led you to do it. And even then, even if a man asks you to pay for a date, you don't want to do it if it doesn't feel good to you. And if a man asks you to give to him and it doesn't feel good to you, you need to share your feelings about that, because that's about respecting yourself and that's about being true to yourself. And you need to use magnetic feminine communication to share how that makes you feel. Otherwise, you're just going to be complying with him. You're going to be just going along with whatever he tells you to do, which isn't treating yourself well. And that's not actually respecting yourself as a high value woman. And that's not good either. So even if a man is leading you and he's not leading you well, you need to speak up. And that this would be one of those situations where I would always speak up. If a man is asking you to pay for anything, you should share your feelings around that and allow him to feel your heart so that respectfully, so that he doesn't do that anymore and he actually wants to provide for you and does provide for you, because that's something you should never really do unless maybe a very specific situation and maybe he asked you and you really want to give back to him in some way and it feels good to you, and then that's okay in that moment, but you still want to look at the overall relationship. So there are slight caveats on it, but I would say the overall rule is never pay for dates. Now, number 3 thing that women should never do with a man is never assume that he knows what you want. You always hear this saying, men are not mind readers, and it's so true. The more masculine a man is, actually, the less he will become a mind reader, because masculine men are focused, and they're single focused generally on solving problems and providing and being the hero. And so that means they're going to be more in their head, which is where the masculine comes from, rather than in their heart. They're going to be thinking about how to make you happy. What are the plans for the future, his purpose, how he can become a better provider, a better hero, a better husband, a better boyfriend. He's going to be focused on his mission in life. Now, you in the feminine, opening your heart and sharing your feelings vulnerably can communicate to him in a way that he gets clarity around how to make you happy. Because if a man is in his masculine instinct and he has any level of care for you, he's going to want to make you happy. That's part of his provision. That's part of him knowing he's doing a good job as a man. Men need to feel valued in a relationship. If he doesn't feel valued, if he doesn't feel he can make you happy, or he doesn't know how to make you happy, he's going to become disassociated from the relationship. He's going to feel like, why am I here? I can't make her happy. I can't provide. So I have no purpose in my life. He's going to feel depressed at some level that he can't provide. So you need to give him that clarity, and you need to give him a path where he can make you happy. And that involves clearly communicating to him how you feel and what does make you happy. And you do this through 2 ways. The first way is through magnetic feminine communication that will teach you, where you can share your feelings respectfully, through asking permission, through sharing your feelings vulnerably, through sharing problems and the stories that you're telling yourself and making about yourself. There's many principles that go into that and specific scripts that we'll give you as well. But you're able to communicate to him what is going on for you, whether that's sadness, anxiety, fear, loneliness. So he gets it. He wants to hear it because it's done so respectfully, and he then wants to solve the problem. He gets crystal clarity on what the problem is, and he has a path, should he choose to the mission, so he choose to accept it, is to solve your problem, is to make you happier, to fix whatever's wrong, quote unquote, to make you feel better in the relationship or in your life in general. And so he needs that clarity to know what to do, so he can empathize, he can understand, because if, again, a more masculine man is going to be more up here rather than down here in his body. So he needs to hear that from you. You're like his surrogate heart. You're like his surrogate feelings. He gets to feel his emotions through you. He gets to understand that through you. So if you can clearly communicate that vulnerably, which is why vulnerability is so important for feminine energy, he gets to understand and he can make a shift. He can help you. And the other caveat is then, number 2, the other way to communicate to him how to make you happy is through sharing your appreciation. When you appreciate him for the small things he does for you right now, the things that about what he does for you, how he does make you feel good, happy, relaxed, safe, confident, etc., then he has a clear path as well how to do more of that. So you can also communicate the things he has done or is doing currently that has made you happy, how it made you feel. So he understands the feeling and the impact of those actions, so that he has a map in his mind how to win your heart, how to make you happier. And it also is good for the relationship because it shows him how he is not just a total failure in the relationship, but there are ways and things that he's doing well that he can do more of. And that boosts his masculine morale and self-esteem, that he wants to do that more as well. Number 2 thing to never do with a man is don't interrupt him. Respect is key. So like I said before, the deepest needs of the masculine is to feel trusted and respected. So if you're interrupting him, that's one of the smallest and easiest and probably one of the more frequent things that a woman will unknowingly do that makes a man feel disrespected, that makes him feel like you don't trust him, that he's not a good leader, not a good communicator, not a good problem solver. So that's just a small one to be aware of. And there's so many other variations of this and bigger ways that disrespect can happen in the relationship that'll cause him to feel like he needs to pull away or he needs to leave that relationship because he's not being valued or respected. So he's gonna start feeling like less of a hero. So the way you can start doing that is to stop those small behaviors, like interrupting him, like telling him he's wrong, like bringing things up that he forgot about or that he said that were hurtful to you from years ago, like criticizing him, making him look bad in front of friends and family, etc. These things will cause him to feel disrespected, and that will make him pull away. So another inverse of this, to start actually making a man feel that you respect him, which will then allow him to come closer. Because if you want to shift masculine, feminine energy, if you shift into your feminine, you're going to naturally start shifting him into his healthy masculine. So it only takes one person, which is amazing that we have you here now listening to this, because we can start to shift you, which will then shift him, which will then shift your relationship into a positive upward spiral. So it starts by you being willing to respect and trust him, even if he doesn't really deserve it. But by you going first, you showing him that first in big ways and small ways, especially if you're using our Magnetize Your Man 30-day challenge or 90-day challenge is really what it is. It's a 90-day challenge to really shift a relationship and inspire a man to become better, which again, you can get by clicking the link to our quiz after you're done watching this video. That will start shifting him, and it may take some time. So that's why you want to give it like 30 to 90 days of you really being respectful, trusting towards him, appreciative, using feminine communication, sharing your hearts vulnerably, using magnetic feminine polarity. That's going to start drawing him closer to you. So so doing things like listening to him, telling him things like, I hear you, I got it, thanks for sharing that with me. Or, was there anything else you want to share with that? Like really listening to him and understanding his perspective, and even admitting when he was right. If he's right about something, like admitting it and saying, you're right, and I'm sorry for questioning you, or I'm sorry for being disrespectful or interrupting you, or telling you were wrong. Of course, within reason. If he was clearly lying to you, you don't need to say you were right about something. But there's other ways you can share your feelings around that using magnetic feminine communication. But that's going to start shifting him. Those little things, surprisingly, will start shifting your dynamic with him and drawing him closer. Like really hearing him, really listening, respecting him as a man, finding those things you respect about him, and treating him with respect, and not penetrating him energetically, not telling him what to do. That's going to do a lot to bring him closer to you and have an incredible relationship. Now, the number one thing that women should never do with a man, if you want to draw him close, is never forget to appreciate him. We talked about this a little already, but just as a constant reminder to yourself, appreciate. Try to find 1 to 3 things about him every day that you can appreciate, that you can actually say thank you for, or tell him how he makes you feel when he did that thing. So appreciation isn't just being polite. It's not just saying thank you, although that's great and that's better than nothing, but it's really sharing the emotional impact, how he made you feel when he said something or when he did something. That's what's going to make him feel appreciated, by knowing that he's making you feel good, that he's making you feel happy. When he knows that he feels he's doing a good job, he feels more invested in the relationship. He feels like he has a path to make you happy. And why would he ever walk away from that? Why would a man ever leave a relationship where he feels fully valued and respected and trusted and appreciated? It's going to be very hard for a man to leave a relationship like that, partly because they're so rare. And so many women don't know these things that you're learning here. 98% of women potentially don't know these things, 95 somewhere in there. And you're going to be one of the few that does know these things, and you're practicing them, and you're going to master them, and you're going to learn more with the work you'll do with us, ideally with our advanced courses and whatnot, really mastering this for yourself to be the most high value magnetic woman you can be, so that your life is just set after that. You mastered relationships. You continually have better and better experiences with your man, with men. They want to provide for you. They want to make you happy. They become your hero. They'll provide in all different levels, financially, emotionally, spiritually. He'll just want to be that hero and that leader and that loving man to you. He'll adore you at that point. So Why would he ever step away from that? So it's so key. You never want to forget that. And you never want to lose it, because it's also a safeguard to help you avoid going into disrespectful behavior, avoid going into distrusting behavior and trying to mother him or control him or tell him what to do. So it's a good safeguard also. One of the powerful keys to magnetic feminine polarity that will dramatically shift your relationship. So much love. Hope this was helpful today. Love to hear your thoughts below, and I will talk to you again in the next training very soon. Much love. Bye-bye.